And joining us now is Tom DeLay, former U.S. House Majority Leader, former Congressman from the great state of Texas. And first, I want us both, and all of you, to watch this.
You know, the problem is everybody dumps people when there's like a sign of political incorrectness. I'm a loyal person. I'm going to be loyal to the country. I'm going to be loyal to Wisconsin. We have to tell it like it is. It would be so easy for me to terminate this man, ruin his life, ruin his family. He's got 4 beautiful children in New Hampshire, ruin his whole everything, and say you're fired, okay? I fired many people, especially on The Apprentice.
All right, so Congressman, welcome aboard, first of all. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good, good, good. All right, now, as someone who was falsely accused yourself, and it was adjudicated, and you were proved that it was false and all that, do you believe that Ted Cruz and others who called for Donald Trump to fire Lewandowski and accused him of, sexual battery or whatever, do they owe him an apology? Do they owe Lewandowski an apology?
No. This is much to do about nothing. I got to tell you, aggressive reporters can be very upsetting. Let's put it that way. And Lewandowski pulled on this reporter, and that was obvious. He was guilty of it. He lied about it, and that will be proven in probably a civil suit. But it would have been all over if they'd have just apologized to her for treating her roughly and move on. But they've got to make a big deal about it. And it shows a lot that evidently Trump and Lewandowski can't apologize for anything. They never do anything wrong. It's always somebody else's fault.
All right, but let's say Lewandowski purposely lied and did remember he touched her, which is possible he didn't. Let's say all that's true. Ted Cruz said that Lewandowski should be fired. I mean, I can play you the soundbite. John Kasich said Trump should fire him. Trump expressed loyalty and said, I'm not going to fire him. So should Cruz, who called for the firing of Lewandowski, now say I was wrong to call for that fire? Should he apologize?
No, I think Cruz and Kasich ought to just move on and completely ignore this.
But why shouldn't they apologize? Don't they owe the man an apology? They wanted him fired. No,
he should have been fired.
Why?
Because he did something and lied about it and didn't apologize for it. I don't know about firing him, but he should have been reprimanded or something because he lied. He didn't apologize. Yes, this was an aggressive reporter, and probably he was justified in pulling her off of Trump. But it's an issue. Who cares? And let's go on.
No, I understand that. It's just that so much was made about it, and and Kasich and Cruz jumped on it and blamed Trump in this whole culture of violence, just like they blamed him for the violence outside of Cleveland and the man who rushed the stage. I mean, that's what I find reprehensible.
Wow, reprehensible is a very strong word. This kind of stuff, Cruz and Kasich ought to stay away from it and start talking and continue to talk about the Constitution, about faith, about issues, because the more they talk about that, the more people are going to understand that Trump doesn't understand or know anything about anything.
All right, let's talk about the delegates. And again, I agree 100%. This is the system, and if the system was changed last year in a specific state like Colorado or whatever, then the Trump people should have known about it. I understand that. But we're finding out. I'm finding out, okay? Maybe I wasn't as savvy 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, 16 years ago as I should have been. But I'm finding out that, now we hear Indiana's hiding their delegates and picking them maybe before any kind of election. Other states, there's a story today, other states, Bloomberg, that Trump could lose delegates in states that have yet to vote. So between that and the superdelegate fix that's in on the Democrat side, I mean, isn't this disgusting, the way this thing works on both sides?
Steve, this is a nominating process. It is by a private political party, just like the Democrats is a private political party. There are rules to be followed, and if people are violating the rules, there is a system you can bring it up. It's called Credentials Committee to correct anybody violating the rules. The point is Trump is trying to get people or intimidate people to think that he is being mistreated. He's not being mistreated. He's being out-politicked.
I agree. But doesn't the system, I mean, I'd like to think that when I go to vote in my state that it matters, but people are finding out in state after state that it doesn't.
Well, it is a party function. These are party activists that are creating, that you can come in as a Trump person, get involved in your precinct convention, your Senate state convention, your national convention, and be part of the process. But also 60% of the people that didn't vote for Trump have just as much opportunity to get involved in the process and work against Trump. This is the system. And Trump is a whining baby about the system. It's just amazing to me. Get out there and get involved in the system and get people involved in the system and win if you can. But I always come back to the point that 60% of the people that have voted in this primary process have not voted for Trump. 60%. And so he's crying because he's only gotten 37% of the vote, or 40% of the vote. And there's one number that's really important here for the rest of this nominating process, Steve. Cruz only needs 38% of the rest of the delegates to stop Trump from getting the
on the first ballot. Yeah, on the first ballot. By the way,
he's trying to set up a system where he goes to the convention and intimidates people and threatens people to give him the nomination when he doesn't have a majority of the delegates. That's what's going on here.
By the way, you might be I don't know if I could spell reprehensible, but I was Congressman, always great to talk to you, sir. We'll speak to you soon.
Sure, Steve. Always good.
Take care. Congressman Tom DeLay, ladies and gentlemen.